What's up, Bodyweight Warriors? Welcome back to another follow along. Today I've got an upper body dynamic flexibility routine for you. We're going to go through all the essential ranges. We've got rotation, flexion, extension, abduction. You are going to need some equipment for today's video. I recommend having some yoga block to work with and also a resistance band. Other than that, time and space, let's jump into this routine. So let's kick things off and we're going to warm up to this routine with a couple of spinal mobilizers. The first one we're going to use is for the cervical spine and incorporating a bit of shoulder rotation. So we're going to do a Lewitt technique. This one, both arms out to the side. We're going to lift one palm up, one palm down. You're going to raise the palm up. As you're doing so, you're going to look towards the palm that's facing up, reach away. As you change breath, we're just going to reverse that motion to the other side. We're going to do this for about a minute. And really the focus here is about trying to reach the hands as far away from the body as you can do and feeling that rotation in the shoulder and then just following with the eye line. Just going to bring a little bit of movement, whacking all the muscles in the shoulder, a little bit of movement to the spine before we get into the actually hard flexibility stuff. You can be standing, seated, however, for this one, does not matter as long as your shoulders are free to move. Nice slow breathing, nice controlled. And one more on each side here. Right, for the next one, we're going to use one more spinal mobilization. This time we're going to be looking at the ability to side bend. So this lateral flexion of the spine. We're going to be in a lunge position, not an intense lunge, so the hip flexors under stretch. And we're going to raise the opposite arm to the leg that's in front. So I've got right leg forward, left arm up here. What we're going to try and do is imagine that one arm is reaching to the sky and the other arm is reaching to the floor. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull us into this side bend. So we feel a stretch up the raised arm side and this crunching down on the other side. Basically, as we breathe in, we're going to reach up. As we exhale, we're going to come back to the square. So again, same way, nice, slow tempo, really trying to reach both arms in opposite directions, and we're just returning back to center. As you reach, try to feel like you tuck the head into the side of the top arm. So we're going to do just a few more here. Really feeling this front leg side crunching down, big stretch over the other side. Return back to the center. I'm just going to swap sides. So we're going to take left leg forward now, right leg back, exactly the same thing. So we've got left leg forward, so we're going to raise the right arm up. We're going to think about reaching the left arm down. So it's going to pull us over into that side bend, reach the right arm up, and the head nice and tight to that arm. Again, just nice controlled breathing, nice deep inhale. Feel the rib cage expand and return back to center. It's quite common here to find that one side feels just a little bit more restricted than the other. So feel free to spend a little bit extra time by pausing the video, going through a few more reps on that tighter side. We're looking for a stretch, nice big stretch over the lifting arm side, potentially down into the hip flexors, the lower back as well. So last one here. Perfect. We're going to come down into a support position. It's going to drop the hips into a bit of an upward dog. And we're going to press ourselves up into a downward dog. So again, the shoulders overhead. You can bend the knees slightly, so we're going to take the pressure off the hamstrings. That's going to move. Feel out the shoulders, try to push them overhead, try to push the shoulders through. Just pay attention to how it feels, because we might come back to this position and see if the shoulders feel more open at the end of this session. Okay, we're going to come down again, flip ourselves around. We're just going to work on a little bit of shoulder extension. So we're going to do a tabletop lift here. Think about pushing away from the floor, lifting the chest up, press down, hips up, glutes engaged, extending through the shoulders. Pause for a few seconds, come back to the start. do 5 of these, sort of 3-4 second pause in the top. Might feel quite extreme to begin with, but over the reps, I want you to either try and think about pushing higher, so pulling the shoulders back together, and then eventually, if you can do, as you lift up, try to feel the knees shift forward into more shoulder extension. We'll do one more for luck after this one. Perfect. So we've got 3 rounds for you today. We're going to cover rotation of the shoulders, we're going to cover flexion, and we're going to cover abduction, or opening the chest. So it's going to be an active drill, a stretch, an active drill, a stretch, an active drill, a stretch. So we're going to go through all of them together. We're going to need some yoga blocks here, ideally, or a couple of cushions. You're going to put them either side of the mat, so we want them at shoulder height. I'm going to lie face down on the ground, and we want to have our arms coming out at 90 degrees with the elbows bent to 90 degrees. What we're going to try and do is actively lift our hands as high as we can into external rotation. So I'm going to think about the middle of my back, the back of my shoulders, really trying to lift those hands up, and I'm going to try and press the elbows down into these yoga blocks. So I'm going to do 3 reps of 10 seconds as hard as we can. So get set up, get ready, and 3, 2, 1, we're going to lift the hands as high as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just relax and try and shake it off. We're going to do 2 more of these. If you've got some weights hanging about, if you find that you're easily lifting nice and high, you can add some weight to make this a little bit harder. 1 or 2 kilos should be absolutely plenty. So let's lift again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Always lifting as high as you can. Try to lift higher and higher and higher. 2, 1. Shake it off. And we're going to do one last one here. Right. Maximum effort. Try to lift. Try to really squeeze your fist as hard as you can. It will help you lift and contract a little bit harder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to move those yoga blocks away to the side, and we're now going to do a twisting, basically a twisting pec stretch. So we're going to start with the side that we feel is tighter. So for me, that's my left-hand side. I'm going to keep my arm in the same position. I'm going to use the other hand to help, and I'm going to swing my right leg all the way around. So I'm going to twist into this left arm. And what I want to think about doing is, when we're in this position, is trying to get that same contraction of the shoulders. So I don't want to let the shoulder dip. I'm thinking about pulling it back and down and away, and emphasizing that stretch over the shoulder. I come back to the center, and then go back down. So we're going to rock in and out of this one. We're going to do 8 reps per side. So we're looking for a nice big stretch over the chest and back to the center. Really lead with that leg. Think about pulling the shoulder back and down, pulling the shoulder blades together. 2 more here. It's quite an intense stretch. This one in the pec minor. It's going to help assist with that shoulder opening up. But last one here. We're going to hold it for 10 seconds on this last rep. And I want you to think about pulling that shoulder blade down, away, trying to lift, sort of press that elbow into the ground, and then trying to reach that foot just as far as you can round, squeezing the back together. Back to the center, other side now. So same thing, arm out to 90 degrees, bent to 90 degrees. And we're going to do that rotation again. So leading with the left leg. Feel that chest rotating. And again, trying to avoid the shoulder dropping down. Try to think about lifting the chest up and twisting into the arm. 8 reps per side. 2-3 second pause in each rep. making sure with this one that your elbow doesn't slip too low. A lot of people will put it below the height of their shoulder. I want to make sure it's at least at shoulder height, and potentially if it's a little bit higher, you might feel like you get a better stretch out of it. 6. So a couple more reps. Each time trying to reach that foot a little bit further over if you can do. And then now on this last rep, 10-second pause. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, when I come back up, little child's pose here. Shake it off a second. So we've done now a little bit of rotation of the shoulder. So I always like to start with rotation. Now we're going to take a look at improving flexion. So that overhead position, we're going to take those yoga blocks and we're going to bring them now in front of us. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have them kind of just outside of shoulder width. The challenge here will be basically how high they are. So currently they're in the lowest position they can be. We're going to start face down on the ground, hands outside, and then we're basically going to try and lift up to the center, lift up, back to the start. Now, if I was to put the yoga blocks on their side, that challenge then becomes that little bit harder. Obviously, we can go all the way to the top, but I don't have the flexibility to do that. So we're going to do 10 of these. So we're going wide to narrow and at a height that is challenging for you. So thumbs up to the sky, start with the arms wide. We're going to lift nice and high into the center, relax, reverse that motion. So I'm not rushing these. I'm thinking about trying to use my maximum range of motion. And keeping the arms straight at all times. So that's 10 reps of both in and out. Should be about halfway. Keep going. If you can do, try to lift those blocks up, go as high as you can. 2 more here. And then last one. I've knocked over the block in the last one. Failed at the final hurdle. Beautiful. We're going to keep those blocks, bring them a little bit closer. Alternatively, you can do this on like the edge of a chair or a bench or something. Basically, you're going to work on now expressing that ability to get into shoulder flexion. So a little bit of an elevation here. I'm on my knees. I'm going to let the chest shift. You have kind of 2 options basically. You can let the chest sink. That's ultimately the goal. I'm going to try and go from overhead and getting my shoulders as low as possible. If, for example, that you want to just improve shoulder flexion, maybe you care about handstands, we want to think about tucking the sternum in. If you want to improve more thoracic extension, so say for bridge or something, we're going to let the shoulders and the spine just extend and arch. So either you're active and just pressing down and keeping the sternum tucked, or you let the sternum relax and then try to arch the back as much as possible. Both are good. It really just depends on what your goal is. So again, like the last one, we'll do 8 repetitions. So lifting up, relaxing, going as deep as we can do, hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, then we're going to hold the last rep for 10 seconds. So let's go. Keep my chest in. So I'm sort of actively pulling under and just thinking about just shoulder flexion, low as I can. Come back up. Now, the further away you are with your feet here, so your knees, the more load you're going to put on the shoulders.
So I've currently got mine kind of underneath my hips, so it's reasonably easy. But if I move them back, I'll be putting quite a lot more load through the shoulders, so it become more of a strengthening exercise. It's 4. Each time trying to get as low as you can do. Couple more. And then last one to the 8th rep. Holding for 10 seconds in that lowest position we can do. Really focusing on like pulling that chest down as deep as you can. Maximum stretch over the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Whoa. Okay, let's flip around. Sit down. We're going to do it to a bit of an opposite stretch, so just into that shoulder extension, not actively this time, just passively wiggling out. So we've done rotation, we've done shoulder flexion. We're going to do the last one, which is abduction of the shoulder. So we're going to work on lifting in the final range of motion. Okay, so we're going to move these yoga blocks to their final position. So we're going to go back to the side. We're going to move them a little bit further out. We're going to do something that's similar to the drill that we just done. So instead now of lifting overhead, we're going to lift directly at 90 degrees to the side. So we're working at actively, again, contracting the chest, but also using the trap. So again here, thumbs up to the sky. So we're externally rotating. I'm thinking about lifting up, lifting over the object, and then lifting back. You should be able to do a little bit higher here than you can in the overhead position. Stand those yoga blocks up, but again, anything really, you have to lift over, back and forth. Again, we're going to do 10 reps, so that is forward and back, so it's 1 rep. So nice, slow, controlled, and always lifting as high as you can. So let's lift, thumbs to the sky, arms are straight. High as you can. Over halfway now. Should be feeling the mid back working, rear of the shoulder. So last one here, high as you can, no block knocking over. And 10. Okay, again, come back into a child's pose. We're just gonna shake that off a little bit. And then we're gonna use the final exercise where you're gonna need that band or a bit of rope or a bar. Band being the easiest because the flex in the band allows the hands to move slightly. We're just gonna perform some dislocates, which is a great way of actively moving through all of the ranges we've done previously. So we've got, not only we've got rotation, we've got flexion, we've got rotation, we've got a bit of extension, and then we've got some abduction, so opening the chest. So we're gonna do 8 reps again. And the goal here is we're going to try and get the hands as close as we can. So let's work it in over the reps. Find something where you can just get through the rep, all the way through, and all the way back. And the key to this one is we're going to lift as far as we can up in external rotation. Once you get to the point of no return, we're going to have to internally rotate the shoulders, so twisting the thumbs outwards, go backwards, behind you, and down. So that's 2. And try and bring the hands in slightly. And as you can see with how the band is moving, it's giving me tighter here. And then when it gets to the point that's hardest, it stretches and lets me get through. So it sort of matches my flexibility. halfway. Try to bring those hands in a little narrower if you can do. Couple more. And last one, if you can bring those hands in just that little bit closer. Oh, brutal. Perfect. I'm going to put everything back to the beginning. I'm just going to come back now. A little bit of a cool down sort of stretch in the opposite orientation. So we're going to be in a kneeling position. I'm going to take my left arm. Right arm's going to stay straight. I'm just going to thread that left arm under, let the shoulder drop down to the sky, relax down onto it. With my right hand here, I can press and help myself sort of get into a bit more rotation, but I don't need to max out the stretch. I'm just going to sit here for about 30 seconds, just breathing nice and deeply. Thinking about looking up to the sky, because the body will move where the eyes go. So a couple of nice deep breaths. We can come back up. Take that right arm, thread it through as far as you can. Shoulder comes down, just relax down onto it. Again, that left arm's now supporting, just look up to the sky. Some nice deep breaths, maybe some back cracks. As we said at the beginning of the video, so we were feeling out how that downward dog, that shoulder position, how did it feel? How open did those shoulders feel? Maybe come back to it, have a look, have a think. If you're doing this before or after an upper body session, perhaps give your handstand a try, see if the shoulders feel like they're able to get into a better position, they're able to get more open. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this one. Perhaps out of those three, maybe there's one that you found you struggled with most. Maybe that's something that you might have focused on. Instead of doing all three, perhaps just do 3 sets of the one that you struggled with most. As always, if you enjoy this one, please hit that thumbs up button. It does help to support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button as well. And if you want to request any more future follow-alongs, then make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll catch you next one. Have a strong week. Peace.